today, and for the first time in JMFPSP history, we want your response on some of the big topics today. We will have a question of the day coming. And don't email, comment, because we're on YouTube, so just comment on the bottom. And because the whole email thing, that was just a disaster.
It was stupid. We got one email.
We did. Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was,
Good
yep,
email.
one email.
Alright, well, let's get started.
Email us.
So,
Next we're going to have the question of the day, the new segment. What is the question of the day, Ryan?
Question of the day is, you comment at the bottom of your screen, because you are watching on YouTube. Should Sammy Sosa be inducted into the Hall of Fame, whether it's in 5 years or 15 years? Tim, what's your answer?
I say no, because anyone who cheated should not be in the Hall of Fame. It's stupid and it's unfair, and that's pretty much my answer.
I think you have to recognize it as an era. I've got a theory on this.
Your answer, yeah.
You go to Cooperstown, New York, where the Hall of Fame is located.
Mm-hmm.
You knock down the Hall of Fame that's there right now. Just knock it down. The Hall of Fame would still be there in theory, and everyone who's in the Hall of Fame would still be there. But the building itself, you knock down, and you build up 5 buildings. 5.
5.
One for the live ball era, one for the dead ball era, one for the steroid era, one for the modern era, and a building for every player who started playing in the 2000s. Because the modern era, I think, was the 20th century, and then this is a different era. The end of the steroid era and the beginning of the Shomadagai era. And so all the Hall of Famers that took steroids or played during the steroid era, which is considered like a 12-year period. I don't know exactly what the years are. I don't really think anybody does. Because Babe Ruth could have been juicing up. You never know.
Suppose, yeah.
One too many Babe Ruths. So everyone who played in the live ball era goes into the live ball era. Everyone who played at the dead ball era goes into the dead ball era. Everyone in the modern era, which would be basically the live ball era and the dead ball era and part of the steroid era, goes into the modern era one. Then the steroid era is where you have Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, maybe. I don't think so. Mark McGwire, probably. Mr. Greg Maddux.
He didn't take steroids.
Ken Griffey Jr. It doesn't matter.
Really?
If you played during the steroid era, you're going into the steroid era building.
The steroid era. Okay.
Yeah, because it's an era. It's not just you juiced. Basically everyone did it. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. How many players are in Major League Baseball? You have how many people do you have on the team?
You got
just players, not coaches and staff.
25.
25. All right. So you have 25 players, 30 teams. 25 times 30 is I don't know.
Show me the number.
I'll look. No, I won't.
25. I can bring up the calculator.
Yeah, you got it. Just don't forget it.
Fine.
750.
750. So you have 750 players in the MLB, approximately, depending on injuries and whatever.
Yeah. Inactive rosters.
Right. So what you do is then in 2003 they did the testing, and 103 names showed up on this anonymous test where Alex Rodriguez's name came out and Sammy Sosa's name also came out. Was that yesterday? I believe it was yesterday around 3 o'clock was when I saw it.
Mm.
And then, so, I'm trying to think and I lost my train of thought. So if only 103 people did it out of 650, was it?
750.
750. Then, that's only what? I don't even, that's like...
14%.
Yeah, that's, thank you. Our producer. That was 14%. If only 14% of them were doing, if only 14% of players are doing steroids, is that really a steroid problem?
Somewhat.
103 names seems like a lot, but then if you put it into the prospect that's 750, there's 750s in baseball,
yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot. Forget all that, it's still a steroid era. And that's why that's how you look at it. You separate the Hall of Fame into the different eras of baseball, and that's how you really solve the steroid problem. Or at least my theory of it. And everyone's probably going to comment, "You stupid motherfucker. You know nothing about baseball. I didn't even know there was a dead ball era."
It could be like the one guy on my videos, man. "You're gay, bro." Just simple like that.
Get your facts straight before you run your mouth, bro. You remember that guy on the Ryan 23491 show? I hope he's listening. I'll kill him.
I'll skin ya. As Lupino would say.
No, I won't. And I don't even know which facts I didn't get straight.
I know.
It was just like, wait a second, I saw that on ESPN 10,000 times, and I did my Brett Favre spiel on that show because we have a Brett Favre boycott going on this show right now.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point because. So anyway, we digressed 1,000 times there. Should Sammy Sosa go to the Hall of Fame? We want to know what you think, because in the end, no one really cares what we think.
Exactly.
But no one cares what you think either. But we want to know.
The 80 something views that this might get. Anywhere from 30 to 80 is usually what the average is.
All
But
right,
I like your rank a lot better.
Alright, so I'll ask you this, Tim. Let's say Sammy Sosa is as clean as...
A whistle.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a better analogy than that. But
As clean as,
a whistle!
Who?
As clean as Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
okay.
let's assume Sammy Sosa's clean.
Yeah,
just completely.
Let's say that, yeah.
Would he be a Hall of Famer without the steroids? Just assume that the steroid stuff never happened. Would he be clean?
Without the steroids, yeah, I'd say he probably would be in the Hall of Fame because, I mean, he's, 8th on the all-time home run list, I think?
Something like that. Well,
I-
I'll get that.
Yeah, he's, but I think he would have made it in. I mean, there would be some controversy surrounding it. I mean, I think people have started to overlook the whole cork bat incident, which happened in 2003 also.
Because that wasn't steroids, that was just a different kind of cheating.
Yeah, he said it was an accident and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I think he would make it in because I think people have relatively forgotten about that incident. But, I mean, now after this happens, I think you can really just say goodbye to that.
As a Chicago Cubs fan, which you are,
Yup.
what would your opinion be of Sammy Sosa now that he has steroids? Would he get into the Hall of Fame?
No, I don't think so because Barry Bonds isn't getting in the Hall of Fame, I don't believe, because, I mean, he took steroids and, yeah. Jason Giambi took steroids. I mean, if he had any chance of getting into the Hall of Fame, I don't think he'd make it now, obviously. And Sammy Sosa, really probably even say goodbye to having his number retired as a Cub too, because all we heard was it was 2003, and that was the time when he was on the Cubs. So I think both his chances of getting his number retired and being in the Hall of Fame are pretty much gone now.
That's pretty interesting, talking about getting his number retired. That's nothing any sports show has really talked about. Is he going to get his number retired? And now you would assume not.
No, yeah, I really don't think it'll happen now.
Yeah, here's what I have to say. I don't think Sammy Sosa would get into the Hall of Fame with the steroids or not.
Really?
Yeah, and here's why. My criteria for getting into the Hall of Fame as far as baseball is concerned is obviously you have to have big numbers, but you have to do it for a long time. How long did Sammy Sosa hit home runs at a ridiculous rate, like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, it was like 98 was his race, or it was either 98 or 99.
I think it was 98.
With his home run race with Mark McGwire, who also took steroids.
Yeah, maybe. This is all, actually, Sammy Sosa has been proven because he was on that list of 104 names. That's a whole different issue. The legal side of this is a little crazy.
Mark McGwire wrote that book, If I Did It.
If I did it. How about when I did it?
When I did it.
When I did it.
I know. But, yeah, and then I think it really seemed to come to an end in 2004, around the time when they traded him to the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
Then he really stopped hitting home runs. And
Yeah.
so, like, the time that, once again, another baseball star with the time, like, where they were, or thought to have been taking steroids is the time when they hit the most home runs.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
But
So,
I'm just saying he didn't do it long enough for me. And I wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame anyway. Do the Cubs have a Hall of Fame themselves? Like a Cubs Hall of Fame for Ryan Sandberg and Ron Santo and Derek Lee, maybe?
well,
Probably not.
I guess you could really consider getting your number retired sort of like a Cubs Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but they don't, like the Packers have a Packer Hall of Fame where Lombardi,
Yeah.
obviously, and all those guys. Brett Favre will eventually be in it.
I've seen that. No, the Cubs don't have like a actual like Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But
I think that's rare to just teams that have had better histories than the Cubs. How many world championships do they have, Tim?
2.
2. And they were both in.
1907 and 1908.
Wow, that was one
Back-to-back
hell of a
world
dynasty.
champions. Yeah, no.
Back-to-back world championships, and how many since?
What? Yeah.
That's how many since 1908.
Yep.
Have they made it back to a World Series since then?
Last one was 1945.
Ooh.
They were in the World Series a lot from like 1900 to, well, from like since the beginning of the World Series in 1903 up until 1945. So they really had a lot of dynasties, at least in the National League. But when they got to the World Series, they would always lose for these teams. But
It's because the AL is better than the NL sometimes.
yep, even back then.
Even back then.